Today on Moviewallas, we talk about Nightbitch and Emilia Perez.
Do you have recommendations?
It's time for Moviewallas. Hi, this is Joe.
Hi, it's Rashmi.
And YesD as well.
Moviewallas is your weekly dose of film reviews, movie news, and general banter in theatres, on DVD, online streaming, or in the back of an airplane. If you love the movies, this show is for you. Hello again.
Hello.
Greetings.
So, hot off our most recent recording. This is one of those back-to-back recording days, so I don't always wear the same shirt. If you're watching us on YouTube, which you should be.
That's funny.
Please watch us on YouTube, like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. I'm going to keep plugging that away until I see us get into some serious growth. So thank you for those of you that do. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We're excited to talk about these two movies. I think we are. I'm excited to talk about the one I watched. So did we want to do some streaming picks today? Oh, yes. I should actually... Before we get too far into the podcast, if you are watching us on YouTube, you will see that I am holding up a Tortuga box. What is a Tortuga? A Tortuga is a Caribbean rum cake.
Oh, so good.
We have been schnaufing. Rashmi and I bought this back from Barbados earlier this year. It has a pretty long shelf life, but man, is this a good cake?
It's very moist.
What?
It's delicious.
It's soaked in
It's
rum.
like a Christmas cake, but softer.
No, it's way lighter than a Christmas cake. It's
way lighter and alcoholic.
It's like a Madeira cake.
It's like
so
a Madeira
good.
cake.
Yes, yeah.
But it's literally it's. I feel like it's got half a bottle of rum in there. I can't tell if it's alcoholic or not.
And
Well, I just said that. I just asked the question. I was like,
maybe half a
if
black-
you're
Am I over the
alcoholic,
limit?
are you allowed to eat it?
I had 2 slices. Do you think I'm going to get a DUI for that?
I don't know. I hope not.
It's quite something. But anyway, thank you to Rashmi's delightful family.
Sister,
friend.
Sister, friend.
Shashi for sending us
Yeah.
home with a Tortuga rum cake.
Yes.
It's
And I'm so
amazing.
sad that it took us so long to crack it open.
I know. But what a
it's
nice
delicious.
event to share it.
I'm glad you held on to it.
Well, because
now
we
I got
couldn't.
to taste
We know
it.
that we couldn't eat it on our own, and
Yes,
it's always
we
nice
could.
to have treats.
Yes.
Okie doke. Business. Let's get into our regular segment of I can't find anything to watch on video on demand, and I will quickly go and find something to recommend while the
I
two
have
of
one
you
ready.
I have one ready as
tell us what you've been
Go,
watching on
Yasti.
streaming.
I was going to pick a movie, but I just saw something which just dropped on Amazon Prime, and it's the movie we've all been raving about. It was my number 2 or 3 movie of last year. Actually, the other one I was going to recommend was also my number 2 or 3 movie of last year.
You can't keep cheating.
But this movie, everybody needs to watch. It's not a fun ride, but it's going to shake you to your core, and it's the movie Joyland.
Oh,
One
yes.
Joyland. I've been waiting forever for this movie to show up
yes.
on streaming, and it's finally dropped on Prime. It was Pakistan's selection or submission for consideration for Best Foreign Film last year. I don't know if it was one of the 5 nominated or not, but it's about a man who is without job, and he's looking for a job, and the only job he can find is in this entertainment troupe led by a transgender woman. And he kind of starts getting attracted to this transgender woman, even though he's married at home. And it's about this clash between new ideas versus tradition. And, this is as traditional as it gets in this particular family, and the repercussions of it.
Oh, it's so good, Yasti.
It's a terrific film.
It says so much about family and duty and desire and, yeah, exactly. It's a progression versus tradition. It's such a good movie.
It's a brave, brave film. It's excellent. Everybody should watch it. One word, Joyland.
Yeah. My pick is something that's very current. It's being currently with award season. It's on Netflix. It's called The Piano Lesson. And it is the movie that is directed by Malcolm Washington, Denzel's son. It stars Denzel's other son, John David, and also a host of other people, Samuel L. Jackson, Daniel Deadwyler, so good in this. But I like the concept, right? And Yazdi, you'll identify about this. It's really at its core about a brother and sister who have inherited a piano, and one wants to sell it and one wants to keep it. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It's as simple as that, but it's beautifully executed. And it really is about family and, again, tradition versus progression, and making a buck versus investing that money or holding on to something. So it's a beautiful dance. It could be a stage play. It's amazingly acted. It is. Okay. I figured it was. It's kind of all in one house. Really, really good movie. I love this movie. May not make my top 5, but definitely my top 15 from 2024.
So it's from the playwright August Wilson, who has written a whole series of plays about the African American experience at different stages, and some of the characters repeat. Their kids and their grandkids repeat in subsequent plays and so forth.
Okay.
But Denzel Washington famously was in Fences, and I believe he produced that as well.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
and his
got nominated as well.
Nominated as well, Best Actor.
Viola Davis
won for Best Supporting Actress. But I think I believe I read that Denzel wants to make a film version of each of those plays of August Wilson, and he's hoping that over the years different directors can take their shot at making each one of August Wilson's plays, and this is the latest one.
So it's on Netflix.
Okay,
go watch it.
Fantastic. That bought me enough time to come up with a pick of my own, and I'm quite happy with this. In January, the movie from a few years ago, 2016, according to what's here on Rotten Tomatoes.
Inception.
The movie, in fact, Inception and Interstellar are getting re-releases on Netflix. They go away, they do come back. So
I think every other episode we mention that movie.
Really? They're getting re-released on Netflix?
They're both coming back to Netflix because they go away, they come back. Okay. Well, Interstellar was in theaters. I missed it. Rats.
Okay.
But since you mentioned them, so both very fine picks for moviegoers with discerning taste. My actual pick is, and it's not going to be out until middle of January, so probably about the time this podcast comes out, is the movie Lion. With
so
good.
Really good.
That has been previously on Netflix, and we may have previously recommended it.
Yeah, we
have.
So
but it's been a while, and it's obviously gone away and come back. So this is a story of a 5-year-old boy who gets lost on a train which takes him thousands of miles away from his home and his family. He must learn to survive alone in Kolkata, which I still call Calcutta, before being adopted by an Australian couple. 25 years later, armed with only a handful of memories, his unwavering determination, and revolutionary technology known as Google Earth, he sets out to find his lost family and return to his first home. This, I think, was Oscar nominated.
I think it was nominated,
for Best Film. And Nicole Kidman, I think, was...
So I think many listeners of this podcast will have known about this and may have watched it already.
I think it was a favourite for all three of us.
But it's been a while since I saw it, and I still remember the profound impact that the movie had on me just for its entire running. It was very engaging and very heartfelt movie. So the movie is Lion, starring Dev Patel. It's on Netflix sometime in January. Rashmi, you had...
The Piano Lesson on Netflix.
And Yazdi, your pick was?
Joyland on Prime Video.
So plenty to watch on streaming. The best of times and the worst of times, as they say.
Indeed.
Okay, we got a lot to do. We have Nightbitch and Emilia Perez to cover, so why don't we start with Nightbitch in that order? And I think I've been nominated to intro this because I have not seen it. So this is from director Marielle Heller, who Rashmi, you and I in particular fell in love with a movie of hers from a few years back, The Diary of a Teenage Girl.
Yes.
She also made Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Which I've not seen. I'm not familiar with that one.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
Melissa...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did see that.
one?
Where she's a fraudster.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy?
Melissa McCarthy, yes.
And then A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood about Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers,
Also
so
directed by
very
her.
accomplished filmmaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is her latest her latest movie, and if I can find the synopsis here on the page, I will read it. A woman, played by Amy Adams, pauses her career to be a stay-at-home mom seeking a new chapter in her life and encounters just that when her maternal routine takes a surreal turn. The movie stars, very famously on the poster, Amy Adams. It also has Scott McNairy, Ella Thomas, anyone else who is top billed here? There's quite a few names that I'm less familiar
I think
with.
that's the main.
Okay, so... folks, what do you all think of Nightbitch?
I love this movie. I absolutely loved this movie. This is a really interesting portrayal of a mother and motherhood. And I don't think I've seen it as well done since Tully, the movie Tully, which came out a few years ago with Charlize Theron. But this is very bitey and brave. And it almost
angry.
feels, and it almost feels like an Emerald Fennell movie. Like if you'd said to me this was directed by Emerald Fennell, I would have been like, oh, that totally feels like it. And it really goes
Is
to
that because
places.
of its intensity?
It's just dark and bitey in my mind.
But also very, very, very funny.
Very funny. Like it's so dark and comedic, and it really does show a woman's experience. A woman who's chosen to give up her career and be at home with the children, and then really what that does to a marriage and what it does to her and her self-worth. And it's a little bit batshit at times because, it's about this woman who becomes, something else at night, kind of. So it's a little bit batshit, but it really worked for me. And again, Amy Adams, I don't normally love Amy Adams. Man, she can act. This is a really interesting, different movie, and I loved it.
Yeah. I think if you have Hulu, Nightbitch is already streaming on Hulu, and you should watch it. This is not a movie that you need to watch on the big screen.
Correct.
And I think this movie really rocks. I honestly don't know. People are talking about, we'll talk about it later just in this podcast. People are talking about all kinds of female leads. Why isn't anybody talking about Amy Adams? And Amy Adams is not my favorite actor as well, but she is. If this movie works at all, it's because of Amy Adams.
She carries the whole movie.
She is in every frame of the movie.
Yes.
It's based on a novel by Rachel Yoder. And exactly like you said, Rashmi, I think most movies kind of assign like a sainted state for young motherhood. Like, oh my God, you've just become a mom and it's the best thing. And, you're so fortunate and your life is complete and all of that. And there are relatively few films which reject this saintly perception of young motherhood and says it could be a complete loss of identity. It can be an all-consuming vortex which sucks the very life out of your bones. I mean, Tully did that.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, we need to talk about Kevin did that as well. And this is kind of
The Lost Daughter, I think, as well.
The Lost Daughter was another one where it's just about a woman who is a very somewhat accomplished artist who is, very fulfilled in her art. And we find out later on about her past. And she and her husband is a traveling person. He's on the road a lot. They move to the suburbs and they have a young baby, and she spends 100% of her time with this baby, and it's literally eating her up.
Correct.
To the point that she starts to stop feeling human, and she starts feeling like she's an animal, and she starts thinking she's a dog. That's like a feral dog. So it's really it's a very kind of clever metaphor of what your state might be when you're you are without sleep and you're consumed and so forth. I like the dark, kind of uncomfortable spaces the movie goes to. It's very, very funny because she's interacting with these other moms at school. And so there's a very dark humor to it, but it also goes to very unusual places. My only regret about the reason why this movie is not a 9 out of 10 for me is I was disappointed with the end, and that the end was so conventional for so unconventional a movie that preceded it. It was so eager to tie up all the knots, where I thought this movie needs to end on an unknowable note, and it ends on a very knowable note. But be that as it may, it's a great film.
But I think, Yasti, the good thing that it does in doing that, it does create a full arc. Right. And I think if it had gone a little bit more batshit, I kind of know what you're saying. Like, you almost wanted it to be brave and go there almost like Saltburn did. Right. It just ended on a really crazy note. But if it had, then I feel like it would have made it too unbelievable. But this way, but with the conventional end,
it just ties up the knots.
The end
so
kind
cleanly.
of justified the means,
Right.
But it's such a beautiful exploration also of how women treat other women, good and bad, right? Like, your women's support can be uplifting and supportive, but it can also be mean girls. And it played that. It really explored both of those elements of how women make each other feel good and bad, which I haven't seen in many movies when you're talking about motherhood and what's expected of you.
And just like Tully did, this one also plays with the surreal in that you don't know if some of what is happening is real or if it's just imagined. Like, she has hair growing at her on her back because she is turning into an animal. Is she imagining it? We see it as hair growing on the back of her back. And, the movie never, stoops so low as to try and explain all of that. It's like, this is what you're seeing. This is what she's seeing.
Yes.
Make what you will of it. Scott McNairy, who plays her husband, is so good. I mean, he's been in 100 movies doing quite amazing work. And his role is a tightrope, and he walks that tightrope every single scene.
You just keep thinking, what a useless man.
Right.
Like, this man is so useless. He's such a bad father. He's so useless. Of course she's going to feel that way. It's just done so perfectly.
I also appreciated the movie. I think we underestimate Marielle Heller, because this movie is nothing if it's not a juggling of different tones, right? It's funny, it's surreal, it's half imagined, half real. Is
it angry?
It's very angry.
It sounds angry from what I'm hearing.
It's angry about, it's angry about why are we not acknowledging how difficult this can be, right? Why is it a woman's failing if she says, I hate being a mother right now because this kid is just literally eating me alive. So it's angry from that perspective, but it's balancing all of these tones so well. And, what could have been a boring, tired exercise instead becomes like this almost magical journey you go on. And it has dogs in it all the time. Many, many dogs. I really liked it. So I'm going to say it's an 8 out of 10 for me. Put Amy Adams very high up on the list of, people for consideration for end of year Oscars. I would have, I wish the ending were not so.
Really? Okay. Yeah. For me,
but it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great
For me,
film.
it's an 8 out of 10 as well. Really good movie.
Yeah.
And it's available, like you say, on streaming already.
It is already streaming on Hulu. Yeah.
That's one I should try and catch.
And we say this all the time, but Amy Adams looks like crap in the movie, and it's a very vanity-free.
She's so good in it. It's such a brave.
It's performance. A very brave thing. We say
she's naked in the movie with pudgy.
I like Amy Adams. I feel like she's always got that look where she wants to burst into tears.
Correct.
That's my only thing about Amy Adams is like.
And she does here also.
Yeah.
But go on, sorry, you were going to say something.
No, she has a splotchy face, and she's like literally like deep circles under her eyes, and clearly, her weight is out of whack, and it's a very vanity-free performance, and we shouldn't just laud people for doing that. I laud her for the amazing acting that she's doing. It's just incredible. I would nominate Scott McNairy for Best Supporting Actor as well.
Yeah, it sounds like he got under your skin as being useless, which
I love it. I love it.
The performance is believable.
Yeah.
But it's a question of perspective. It's what she's seeing, and you sitting from the outside are judging him. Like, is he this, wimp of a man, or is he actually a great man? Is he the perfect husband, or is he a stupid husband?
And it brings into that whole question, which I've heard with many of my friends who have kids around, the role, if you take on the role of staying at home
right.
and doing that as your job versus your partner going out to work, then what is the division of labor and how does that work? And, Joe, you and I have talked about this.
Who's doing the sacrifice?
No. I mean,
Right,
I always feel like society fails to recognize and celebrate
the spouse who's staying at home.
Stay-at-home mom
Right.
as something to value. And, we catch ourselves doing it by encouraging our girls to go out and get careers. And, there's still something noble about being staying at home. But I think you're making a different point,
Yeah,
Rashmi,
making the point about it makes that whole...
I mean, we've had friends who have really struggled with young children to the point of questioning their own mental health.
Yeah.
And how they feel about their kids, and it's this torment because they're supposed to be everything, and they're supposed to be wonderful all the time and so happy, and they've struggled with that.
Yeah.
And
Sounds like it's a good exploration of that.
It's very good.
And I also want to call out Jessica Harper, who is this older actor in the movie who plays a librarian that she goes to, and just the interaction between the two of them. Maybe there are 2 or 3 interactions, but they're exquisitely written and very well played out. Like, again, a confrontation of 2 different tones, 2 well-meaning people with very different ideas. Like, how do they interact? So it's actually an excellent script as well.
Good stuff. Okay, let's pivot over to our second movie of the week, which is Emilia Perez. So, Rashmi,
So directed by Jacques Audiard, who I believe is quite the auteur.
Yeah. No 2 films of his are alike.
Yes. Written by him, Thomas Bidegain and Leah Misuse. Emilia Perez follows 4 remarkable women in Mexico, each pursuing their own happiness. Cartel leader Emilia enlists Rita, an unappreciated lawyer, to help fake her death so that she can finally live authentically as her true self. So this is got Zoe Saldana. It has Selena Gomez, and it also has Carla Sofia Gascon, along with Adriana Paz and a whole host of others. So, Joe, what did you think of this one?
And I just saw the director's resume includes the wonderful movie from 2009 called A Prophet.
Yes.
Which, goodness me, that's been a Netflix pick of ours, I think, more than
yes.
once. But,
yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
And he also did Deepan. He's done a lot
Rust
of...
and Bone, which got a lot of laud.
The other ones I
lauded.
don't remember. I think
Rust
The
and
Sisters
Bone,
Brothers as well we saw and liked.
The Bureau, remember we liked that one?
Anyhow,
yes.
What did I think of Emilia Perez? Well, the marketing for this movie is all wrong. I feel like it was all a musical with Selena Gomez, who I quite like Selena Gomez, but she's not kind of a draw for me. So we kind of sat down. Rashmi and I sat down to watch this the other night on Netflix. It'd been highly spoken about, and I think the San Diego Film Critics Society.
You can stream this one. Yes.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
That's true of both of my movies today. That's interesting.
Which I love.
So I sat down to watch it with low expectations. In fact, I sat down to watch it with my iPad open, ready to kind of deep dive into some internet rabbit hole that I normally do when I'm not particularly interested in watching a movie. It pulled me in from the get-go.
Plus, we'd also just finished Bad Sisters.
We had also just finished Bad Sisters, but this movie kind of pulled me in from the get-go. Very early on that I think you're in good hands. It has a sense of place and beat. I was very surprised that this was a musical.
Yes.
I don't know why. I think I'd heard that it was, but in my head, I was expecting something difficult. So when the first song kind of appeared, almost mid-scene, among the dialogue, I kind of sat up and paid attention. And I think the songs in this movie are really very well done. Are they catchy pop numbers that I'm going to be playing? No. But I think the songs musically are very, very strong. I enjoyed listening to kind of all of them. It's done mostly in Spanish, I think, if not exclusively in Spanish. So, you do have to watch along with subtitles, which isn't a bad thing with a musical because I often miss the words, but here they were there for us to enjoy. I thought this movie was fabulous. I'm rambling a little bit because I have a lot of feelings about how my approach to the movie led me to kind of underestimate it. And I'm trying to say this because if you're in that camp, put your biases and preconceived ideas aside, go watch this. This has really been one of my favorite movies of the year. It's such a surprise, popping out of nowhere. And, yes, is it a little too melodramatic and a little too pulpy and a little too cliche Mexico, drug cartel, that kind of stuff? Yes, it has all of those elements in it. But as something that kind of came together as this vision, it just worked really well for me. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a good job we didn't watch this before we went to Mexico City because I'm not sure we would have convinced you to go, right?
It's not a flattering portrayal of Mexico.
Well, it's not shot in Mexico City. Clearly, it's
Right.
supposed to be Mexico City, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
that's also true. Yeah.
So this movie won the top prize at Cannes, and Netflix, lapped it up. And Netflix has been pushing for this movie really strongly, which is an odd thing because it's by all means a foreign film. It's from a French director set in Mexico and the US, spoken in Spanish. I think this is a love it or hate it film, if ever there was one. I like it, but I totally understand those who hate it. I like it primarily because it's a capital M movie, right? It's a movie where there is so much ambition on the screen. There is so much, the very fact that it's a musical, it has no reason to be a musical. The very fact that, it's all shot with so much energy and it's all very kinetic and all of these, it's very, very theatrical and, it has these, somersaulting plot elements and so forth. And, so much energy. I mean, I think the film is just crackling with energy. It's kind of eating up its own artifice. It's very artificial. The whole movie looks completely very, very artificial, but it's eating it up and it's like digesting it. And it's very, very engaging. So I really like, and I also like the fact that the movie, intentionally or otherwise, is almost equally dividing its time between the three female characters in the movie. It's almost going from one to the other. It's the Selena Gomez character to the Zoe Saldana character to the Carla Sofia Gascon character. It's kind of almost toggling between the three. So I like how it's been, structured. So everything else about the movie is trash. Okay, the plot is trash. The main character is trash. It's appallingly bad. It has nothing to say about the trans experience. Actually, it's regressive in terms of how it's dealing with the trans situation. It pretends to have this sudden heart about missing people, which is so misguided. I was like, really? You haven't earned the right to suddenly become all noble about, we are going to do good things about people who have gone missing in Mexico when the main character was a Mexican drug lord. So it's just like, and the way it ends really pissed me off. They're really actually making a saint out of the main character. Really pissed me off. But I liked it because it's a movie, capital movie. I enjoyed it visually, but I have a lot of problems with it.
That's hilarious.
I love this movie. I mean, I think it was unexpected and, again, I said during the Wicked podcast that I don't really like musicals, and this didn't bother me at all because each piece of music was in service of the story.
Yes.
And I like the whole what happens if. I know it's completely implausible, yes. To your point. It is completely implausible, right?
Yes.
But what happens if? And it's interesting. It's an interesting story, and I like the arc of the relationship between the Zoe Saldana character and the lead, yeah, because that makes a change, and then the Selena Gomez and the main character. Like, I like that relationship, and how those relationships change, and it's just batshit. And Joe, you made a really good observation after the movie, which is, it's almost Bollywood.
Yeah.
It's in the vein of a Bollywood movie.
Yeah. Totally.
But it's really good. I really like this movie.
I mean, there's a central conceit which you have to kind of accept, which is that post-surgery, this character
person is completely unrecognizable.
Even to somebody who has born children to said person. And I think...
But to be fair, it is the same actor. So it is the same actor who plays the male version and then the post.
Yes.
No, understood. But you know, you have to kind of buy that if you don't, and which I did. I was like, okay, that's what they're doing. That's how they're going to tell the story. That's totally fine with me. But you know, if I can imagine that if you didn't buy that for a second, that this movie would very rapidly go downhill. So I think, you know, there's one kind of area. And honestly, Rashmi and I were talking about the marketing of the movie. I mean, it's listed as LGBTQ plus on Netflix. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with LGBTQ plus issue. I mean, yes, you said that, you know, it's going in the wrong way. And to be honest, I just don't think it has anything to do with that. This is just...
it's a gimmick.
It's exactly that. And I don't think it should be sold as that. I think... It narrows its audience in terms of marketing, because I think there are people who might not watch it because of that. But B, I just don't think it speaks to the cause. It just doesn't. It's nothing. It's like it's silly to kind of do it that way. But nonetheless, it's a fun exploration of a lot of what you said, Rashmi. What if?
Yeah.
What if this happened? What if that happened?
Yeah.
And to that regard, as a story, as a play, as a musical.
Yeah.
It's completely unhinged. It lets itself go and it lets itself have fun with those things. And I haven't seen Rashmi gasp as many times. Like this is like a 5 gasp movie.
It is.
Really?
Really?
You know,
I
so
gasped
sometimes
to
she'll be like, sometimes no, this movie was like, oh, and this was like full on like hand over mouth. Like one of them, you jumped back in your seat and you're like, oh my God. You like, it was like,
I was so in it. I was so in this movie.
I haven't seen that that effect on you for a long time. I mean, I think maybe like Breaking Bad or something like that towards the end of when the tension is unbearable. So, you know, for us, we went on its ride.
Yeah.
And we had a fabulous time.
I think we were just really enthralled in it. Like, if you give yourself, then you will have 5 gasps.
Yeah. So, but it's like a novella, right?
Yeah, it is.
Very, very melodramatic, and it's twists and turns, and it's like, you know, it's. You say the plot is preposterous, yes?
It's trash. It's not even preposterous. It's just trash.
Sure, I will even give that to you, but I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I could turn into an elephant. You didn't see that coming, and that wouldn't make a good movie.
But I think in this case, it kind of did, and it's good in a soap opera way. And I think novella is where I go just because of the bias of calling it Spanish, but it is.
I wish it was more. I don't know how to say this. I wish it was more Mrs. Doubtfire. You know, I wish it had gone, because right now it's going for
No,
because
I don't agree.
It's going for sincerity in a plot that is inherently pulpy, and that doesn't work
but it's a musical.
I know, but it's so Zoe Saldana, give her all the flowers.
Yes.
Okay, she is the heart of the movie. I loved her. I've never seen her like that.
Excellent.
And I didn't know she spoke Spanish. Well, Saldana, she's probably from
yes.
I didn't know she could sing.
I didn't know she could sing.
She's very good.
Selena Gomez, I could go this way or that way. Fine, good for her. She's good. Yeah. But the thing which really bothers me is, you know, at the Golden Globes tomorrow.
Yes.
The lead actor, Carla Sofia Gascon, is nominated for Best Female Actor. She's the weakest link in the movie. The name of the movie is Emilia Perez. I don't know anything about Emilia Perez. Emilia Perez suddenly decided to transition. You're never explained why. And then after she transitioned, everything she does is illogical.
Correct.
Everything she does is illogical. So I didn't believe her as an actress. I did not believe her as an actor. I didn't believe her, the character, and I didn't believe the actress.
She saw the error of her ways.
Yes.
No, come on.
Yeah, it is. It's look,
But okay, I don't think. My point is, I
You
don't
didn't
think she
believe it.
deserves
You didn't-
recognition.
you didn't
I
buy
agree.
it.
I don't
agree.
think she deserves
I don't
recognition.
think she's the best
I don't think she's
performance
the
in the
best, yeah.
movie, and I think she's
Agree.
getting lauded because it's a trans.
Right.
Again,
It's a trans
and
role,
It's a
yeah.
trans role. Yeah.
But I think if you love cinema, if you love ambitious, like big swings, you have to watch this. And
Yeah.
I almost regret that this movie is on Netflix because I would have loved to see this on the big screen with the sound and with
Yeah.
the big, But be that as it may, I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the movie, but I really have a problem with the plot.
Yeah. No, it's
And that whole thing with anyway.
It's
yes.
suspect. I mean, I'll give you that. The thing plays out like a bad soap, and that's okay because it's
Not for me.
within its little world of
Of make-believe, yes.
Lawyers don't start singing when they're doing briefs, right? Like you're in a batshit world. You're in a fantasy of and. The movie, if nothing, commits to its vision, right?
The vision is great. Yeah.
It says we don't care. We're just going to do this, and we're going to do it big. And
I know, but I wish they hadn't written a storyline about her just recognizing the error of her ways and suddenly turning she used to be like a drug cartel leader, and now she is creating.
Don't give it away.
It's like, come on.
The critics' consensus here is Carla Sofia Gascon, this is on Rotten Tomatoes, is Emilia Perez in a swaggering, musical, crime thriller of genre-bending fascination that is
That's
also
true.
an unapologetically trans story.
It's not unapologetically. I think that the film does nothing
It
for
feels
the
like it's
trans
been written
cause.
by AI, but yes, I mean, it's the swaggering musical crime thriller
True.
of genre-bending
True.
fascination. Like
True.
all of
That
that
is true.
is true. And
I would-
if you like the sound of that, switch this one on. In fact, if you don't like the sound of that, switch this on. It's fun.
I liked it. So score.
Purely by the fact that I'm still high off this movie. I mean, I can't. I don't know whether it was a state of mind I was in, that expectations were so low, but I had so much fun watching it. I had fun watching Rashmi watch it. I had it stayed with me. I want to see it again because it's fun. It's like you say, Yazdi. I love what you said. It's a movie. It's a movie that you put on and you escape into its world for a couple of hours, and it's not that doesn't happen often enough. Like Wicked should have done this. Wicked should have pulled me into Oz.
Yeah.
And I should have been with those characters with their swings and their upside downs and all of their journeys. Instead, I'm kind of looking at it with like, oh, that's a good looking set, Oh,
Yeah.
Isn't the special
Isn't her
effects
makeup
really
good?
good? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this I'm going to give this a 9. F it. I mean, really, I really, really had fun with it.
Yazdi, go.
I'm torn about it because I love what they're doing as a piece of cinema, but I hate everything they did about the plot. Honestly, that ending is offensive. It was like you cannot do this. It's just you cannot ask me to watch a movie about this character for 2.5 hours and then say this is how you should feel about that character. No, I don't feel about that way about that character at all. So 7 out of 10. I think if you love cinema, you should watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Joe. This is like a 9 out of 10 for me because it's such a fun.
Had we been drinking that day?
Unexpected. Maybe we had.
Were you
Maybe we
high?
had the moisty cake. And I love Zoe Saldana's wardrobe in the second half of this.
Didn't notice that, but okay.
movie. Yeah, I just like this everything about this movie. It's just a fun package.
It's funny, the ending scene that Yazdi you found so offensive. I actually
Were you
thought
crying?
it was.
Don't say you were crying.
No, I wasn't crying. But I thought it was like found footage. It was done in a reality movie kind of, in a documentary kind of way, and I was like, oh my goodness,
See, this is why I was saying
was
it
this
should
a
be
real person? I was like, could this have happened the way that they told this story?
Oh,
It's
I
like-
see what you mean.
I was like, I was actually relieved at the end to find out that it was pure fiction. But yeah, what a movie.
All right.
Also, why Emilia Perez? It's a lost opportunity. One fine day, this person who transitioned just says, I'm going to be Emilia Perez. Give me some backstory. Why
But you
did she
got
pick
it.
that name?
She says it in the
What?
beginning. She says, "I ever since I was young, I've never felt."
No,
like I'm living.
why that name?
Why
Who
not?
cares? Why not? What if it was like
Because the name
Sally
of the
Johnson?
Because the name of the movie is Emilia Perez.
Right, but why not?
Maybe it was a grandmother's name. Something. Give me
Would
something.
that have
but
changed your score?
a little bit.
No, Yazdi.
Anyway.
Oh boy, go watch it. Not on Netflix. Go watch our other movie then as well, Nightbitch, also on Hulu. So we
Yes.
didn't even need to do streaming.
No,
picks.
we didn't, but
this
all
podcast
streaming.
in and of itself is a list of streaming picks. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We do appreciate everyone that tunes in, downloads, and switches us on and listens to us on walks and drives, and now you can watch us on your couch in glorious Technicolor on YouTube as well. So I guess let's bring this one to an end. It's award season coming up. The Globes are tomorrow, so that'll be the
We'll
first
do our-
of
yeah.
the big. That'll be the first, I guess, of the big awards. Oscar noms come out later in January. So are they doing that thing again this year? Do you know, Yasti, where they push it out to like the end of March or something?
Yeah, I think it's not end of March, but it's...
Because it's felt so late the last few years.
Yeah, I'm so late.
You know.
Yeah,
We'd already watched a
everybody
quarter of movies
Well,
It's
before
exhaustion.
It's exhausting.
I think for me, I find it.
No, it's March 2nd this year.
Okay, so that's a little better because I feel like it's been pushed out way late into March. But yeah, it just felt like the year won't start for the other movies until that's out of the way in some ways. So I'm glad it's sooner. So yeah. We'll be back with more reviews and feedback on awards. And if you would like to hit us up, do so at mail@moviewallas.com or Twitter or on Facebook. Join our group, join our family. I've said enough.
Yeah.
Too many movies, too little time. A goodbye from me.
And me.
And me as well.